Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ella. If you're new here, welcome, come on in. This video is going to be the second installment in a series of videos that I'm doing all about our move from London to Folkestone. Now, if you haven't seen the first video and you want a bit of a background, maybe go and watch that one first. I talk about what made us decide to move, how this whole thing came about, considering that we are two self-employed people in the creative industries who don't have any support from family financially, and never thought that we'd be able to afford somewhere. That was because we were not looking outside of London. And shock horror, you can buy properties for so much cheaper outside of London. Who knew? Who knew? This video is going to be about the two properties that I fell in love with in Folkestone. Now, there's a whole bit of backstory to this. Property number one was the first one that I viewed. I fell head over heels. I can't tell you how much I loved this property. It was huge. It was a flat. It was a two-bed flat. Both these properties are two-bed flats with gardens. That was my, can't waver on that. It needed to be two beds and it needed to have a garden because I've missed having a garden so much. And I fell in love with this property. Roll on the video of me viewing it. Let's just get that out of the way. This is property number one. So this is the first flat that I viewed and I fell in love coming into this really spacious long hallway with lovely wooden floors. First on the left is the bathroom. This is all completely freshly done. It looks brand new and it's a really good size with a good sized bath. Going back into the hallway, this is what I would have used as the main bedroom. Really big, really bright. Considering this is lower ground, I couldn't believe how bright it was. Look at the size of this living room. It was so spacious. All of the carpets were fresh and new. It had clearly just been repainted. I couldn't believe the quality of this place compared to some of the others that I had viewed. Coming in to either the second bedroom or the master bedroom, again, a really, really good size. This property was just huge. The galley kitchen at the end, there's a space for washing machine, there's a space for maybe a dishwasher, and space for the table potentially in the kitchen as well. Going back into the hallway, so there's one exit into the garden through the kitchen, and this is the other exit, which is straight as you enter into the flat. There's a shed up those stairs there, and then you've got this kind of concrete courtyard area. Going up these stairs into this beautifully green, very bright, airy feeling garden. It's huge. There's so much that could be done with it. I really saw the potential in this property. I did fall in love with it, mainly because its size, and I thought you could just do so much with it. As I said, and as you can probably hear in the video, I just loved it. Not only because it was big and spacious and felt airy, but it also had a lot of potential. It was kind of like a blank slate and I could see the potential in it. I could see all of the interior decorations and designs, and I could imagine what I could do with that garden. The garden was south facing, it was really sunny. I was imagining like a big mural up on the wall in the garden at the back. Like my mind was just going crazy and I fell in love with it. And I was like, yep, this is the property for us. We actually put in an offer on this property. The offer got accepted on this property. This was the one that we thought originally was going to be ours. We completely just got carried away with imagining and designing all of the things that we wanted to do with it. And we could see ourselves in it so clearly. It fell through. The flat, so yeah, originally the flat was up for 230,000. No. What was it up for originally? 235,000. That's what it was up for. We settled on a price of 227,000 for this flat, which, imagine getting a property for that price in London. It's just like, you can't compare. The amount that you get for your money outside of London just makes the whole move feel worth it. So we settled on that. I remember getting the call saying our offer had been accepted. And I was just like, what the hell? Like, I've gone from not feeling like I was anywhere near able to put a deposit down on a flat to having our offer accepted in about a week. It was a week between our first mortgage advisor meeting and viewing and putting an offer and having it accepted on that property. 1 week. It was stupidly fast. A bit too fast. Now, word of warning, bit of hindsight. If things are happening that easily, I feel like something's going to go wrong at some point, and it did. We're like knee deep in paperwork, and in between all of this, NatWest, who we are borrowing the money from, they're the ones giving us the mortgage. They went and did their own independent survey. Now, we would have paid for a survey anyway, but thank God NatWest went and did one for us, because they saved us a good £500, £600, £700, whatever it would have been, to have this survey done. They came back with a report. They said nothing other than that there is evidence of damp in this property, and they wouldn't lend us the money until it was fixed. This threw a massive spanner in the works, obviously. We were just like, by this point, we couldn't see ourselves living anywhere else. So we contacted the seller. He did a damp and timber survey. He came back to us after the results of that, came back and said that he was going to take off the property from the market altogether. It was going to cost way too much to fix the damp problem. He wasn't going to sell it anymore. So just before we knew it, that property had just been stripped away from us, was totally out of our reach, and we were back at square one. I was so gutted. I was so gutted about this. I just didn't expect it. And it really made me put my guard up a little bit for the next couple of properties that we viewed, because I was just like, you know, anything can happen. You don't necessarily know if a property's got damp. You saw what it looked like. It was all fresh and new. You'd never be able to tell unless someone went in and professionally did a survey. With your own eyes, you'd never be able to tell that there was a damp problem in that survey. Now, it was lower ground, so I was a bit dubious about like rising damp. Anyway, it got taken off the market. We were back at square one. And this is where the two properties that I went to view in Folkestone in the second half of my first video come into play. So watch that video if you haven't already, once again. I then went to view two other properties in Folkestone. Bearing in mind, when I'd viewed this property that we put in the offer for, I'd also viewed another property after, which I also fell in love with. I thought it was a beautiful property. I could see us living there. The only thing that had me a little bit like not so convinced about it was the size. It was significantly smaller than the first property. And in our current flat, we're quite lucky. We've got quite a big amount of room. Like, even our living room is big. We've got a long hallway. Our kitchen is huge. So we're coming from quite a privileged position, because we're like, oh, but you know, we don't want to go any smaller. We don't want to downsize, where realistically, if you're buying, you might have to take something that's a little bit smaller than what you're renting. That just is how it is. But that is kind of what put me off of this property. That's the only thing that put me off of this property. Other than that, I loved it. I'm going to go ahead and show you property number 2. our second property that we fell in love with. I'll show you that now.
The flat number 2 gives a cute cottagey vibe throughout. This bedroom just really makes the room look much smaller than it is. The same goes with the second bedroom. I think just the layout that he had going on here really didn't do the space justice. These are both decent sized rooms. Small kitchen, small but sweet. It had a Smeg fridge in it and it was looking out onto the garden, which I really liked. The bathroom comes off the kitchen. Again, smaller, much smaller than the previous property, which you could probably tell. But the whole property has a hell of a lot more character. Going back into the kitchen, we've got this exposed brick on the walls, which I thought was a really nice detail. Back into the hallway. Now the living room is for sure the main centre point of the flat. It is stunning. Just look at those windows. It's a really nice size. The ceiling goes so high, and the overall seller of the property for me was the garden. Just look at this magical fairy garden. I fell in love with this garden. I absolutely fell in love. I could see myself in the summer in the garden, and yeah, this really sold the property to me. This flat also comes with a cellar. So there are 3 rooms in the cellar shared between one of the other flats in the building, but this adds some really vital storage space because look how useful that is.
There's something about that flat that just felt so magical to me. I think it was the garden. It's like a fairy garden and it's not even been done. Like once you do stuff to it, I can just picture how beautiful that garden is going to be. I fell in love with it. Not only that, but I had the landlord or the current owner of the property show me around that one. So already it felt a little bit more personable. He also then took me on a tour of Folkestone, like a 2-hour tour. We were walking around. He was showing me all of the best bits of Folkestone. He was properly selling it to me. And oh my God, it worked. Like I'm a sucker for a sales pitch. It worked. I was just like, yeah, I love it. I want to live here. I could see us living here 100%. And then, yeah, as I said, we kind of got put off by the size of that property and we'd already gone for the first one, which we had kind of put all of our hopes towards. And when you kind of see or envision yourself living in a particular space and you properly manifest it and properly visualize it, it then becomes a little quite difficult to imagine yourself in any other space. So without knowing, we kind of put that in a little compartment and put it to the side and kind of forgot about that property for a little while. About 2 weeks later, I went to view 2 of the other properties, the ones that I showed in the last video. And that was really when I realised after viewing the second property, the second time around, I was like, I know the other one is so much smaller, but something is telling me like there's nothing that compares. There's nothing that I'm viewing here that comes anywhere near close to the feeling that I got in that property. Like it was just an instant like, wow. Obviously the stained glass windows are just insane. The garden is huge and beautiful. I could picture Marley running out there. I could picture having chickens in the garden. It's in a really nice location in Folkestone. It's a 8-minute walk to the beach. It's so close to the beach. The actual house as a whole is just beautiful. All of the houses in the area are beautiful. I really just fell in love with it. And after seeing 2 less nice properties, it really confirmed in my mind that maybe we should just go for it. So I came back to Johan that day. I was like, I feel like we should just go for it with the property that we saw last time. I feel like there's not going to be anything else better. We fell in love with it. We're being kind of dissuaded. Dissuaded? Is that a word? Like put off because of the size. But realistically, it's not that small. Like, we'll learn to adapt. It's still got 2 rooms, like, it's definitely livable. It's a decent size, it's just much smaller than what we're used to. And I just said, you know, I think we should just go for it. The one thing that was putting me off of this was that it was on sale via modern method of auction. I didn't know what the hell this meant. Like, what does that even mean, modern method of auction? What does it even mean to have an auctioned property? Like, already so much more complicated than it just being put up for sale as it usually would. I was worried that there was going to be bidding wars, you know, these were all the things that put us off the property to begin with. Another thing with the auction is that auctions usually come with a whole lot of auction fees, and we only had enough money for a deposit. We didn't have enough money for the 4.5% auction fees, which would have been like £9,000 or something ridiculous just on fees. Like, we couldn't have afforded that. So we were going backwards and forwards with the auction house. They really wanted to get it sold. This property was going to be taken off the market next week. I think the owner was just sick of having it on the market. It had been up for a good 5 months, hadn't had many people interested in it, which is just shocking to me. But I think the market in Folkestone was just really slow at the time, which was all beneficial for us. So we spoke to them and we came to an agreement. So we put in an offer. Originally we put in the offer for 220,000. So we discussed with the auction house and we put in a first offer at 220,000 all in. So that was for them to be covering the fees and not us. The owner didn't accept this. He didn't want any less than 230,000. So we offered that all in. He still didn't accept it. And then we spoke to the guy at the auction house, and he'd gone on holiday for like a week, and he came back and he was like, so what's the update with the property? We're like, well, you tell us. I don't know, we've put in an offer. We can't afford anything else. We can't afford the auction fees. It has to be all in. And then I guess, I don't know, maybe he pulled some strings, don't know how it happened, but we managed to get the offer accepted. So we're buying the flat for £230,000 all in. That includes the auction fees. So I guess they'll figure out a way for the auction fees to come out of the mortgage or whatever. But yeah, we're paying a little bit more for our mortgage. We're borrowing a little bit more money, but that covers everything. So all we've had to do is pay for the deposit. We're knee deep in paperwork as it is, but we are very, very close to finalising on this. As we said in the last video, we should be in the property. I hope. I don't want to jinx it. Touch wood, touch wood. I don't want to jinx it, but we should be in the property by the 3rd of November. That's 2 weeks. That's in 2 weeks. I am nervous, very excited. I am hoping that, you know, it doesn't affect our work in a negative way. I've got friends I can stay with in London. I've got family in Greater London, so I don't think that's an issue really. But more than anything, I'm just really looking forward to starting a whole new chapter. And finally, after all of these years of trying and hoping and praying, finally being able to get on the property ladder all by ourselves. I think that's a massive achievement, whether it be in or outside of London. Just being able to own a property is something that I've always wanted, not only for the security aspect, but also so that I can decorate it and do whatever I want with it in terms of the interior. Like, I have so many ideas bubbling around in my head of the things that I want to do, and yeah, the sort of interior that I want, and I'm just so excited for this stage of life. It does feel nerve-wracking, you know, it's the biggest purchase that we will have ever made, obviously. But yeah, to be able to own a flat like that, I really bloody hope this all goes through. I'm not going to be posting this video unless it's all gone through and we're in there, by the way. So if you're seeing this video, that means that, like, it's worked. It's happened. We're in the flat, and moving videos and packing videos and interior videos and homeware and all sorts of stuff like that will be coming soon to my channel. I'm so excited. But yeah, that is the flat that we are buying in Folkestone. I can't believe I'm saying I'm buying a flat. I don't know how, I honestly feel like I've found some sort of glitch in the matrix where I've been able to, like, I don't know, be really sneaky or something. Like, I feel like I shouldn't be able to buy a flat, but here we are, we're buying it. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you did, if you've got any questions. Have you ever been to Folkestone? What did you think? And yeah, again, we've only been a couple of times. I've never lived outside of London, but my mindset is we'll try something. If we hate it, we'll change. We'll move somewhere else. Like, nothing's permanent, nothing's forever. Everything is always changing and evolving, and this is just the next step in our journey, and I'm really excited. So thank you so much for watching this video. Give me a thumbs up if you're looking forward to all the moving content. I'm not looking forward to packing so much, but there we go. I think we're going to have a lorry to move because we've got a 2-bed flat fully furnished by us. This is going to be the biggest move that we've ever done by far. So stay tuned for all of that content coming up, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.